Tell Me More podcast is being recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures. Welcome to Tell Me More, where we have conversations about the good, the bad and the real. I'm your host, Olivia Molly Rogers. Today's guest is Lindy Klim, a model, entrepreneur and mother, and someone who knows what it's like to start over. In this conversation, Lindy opens up about leaving her second marriage and choosing herself. She shares the raw reality of walking away and what healing looks like when you're rebuilding your life from the ground up. She's honest and vulnerable, and this conversation is a powerful reminder that we are allowed to change and we are allowed to begin again. Lindy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited to have you in the pink chair, which you happen to match.
I know, and I never wear colour, so who knew?
Yeah,
it's like
it was
meant to be.
Meant to be, and you're really selling those shoes to me. They look so good.
They are good, and they're goodies.
They're stunning.
Thank you.
I would love for you to start by telling me, how would you describe yourself to a complete stranger?
Oh my God. I'd start by saying that I am like chaos. Chaotic, funny, authentic. I often say I'm a little bit stupid, which I've got to stop saying, but I am a little bit stupid.
Why don't we say silly?
Silly. Okay, a little bit silly. Yeah, I'm very lighthearted. Like I don't take things seriously.
I love that, and it's so interesting because when I look at you, I think you are so chic and so put together.
Really?
And yeah, I think that maybe your first impressions don't give off that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Until I start speaking, and then it's like, what? What
no,
did she
well,
say?
I love how open you are. I'm very excited to get stuck in. But to get the audience, to get the real vibe of Lindy, I would love to start with a little rapid fire.
Okay.
So a few quick questions. Sometimes they don't end up being super rapid. So we'll see how we go.
Okay, cool.
Heels or sneakers?
Sneakers.
What is one wardrobe item that every woman should have?
Jeans.
What is your go-to coffee order?
A latte, 2 sugars.
Amazing. Has it always been that?
Always, never changed. And it's always full fat milk. I don't worry about any of that. Just,
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like that's quite different these days.
Do you think? Oh, yeah. It's, latte with oat milk.
Yeah, that's
Breast milk maybe. It's probably going to be the next thing.
breast milk. Now, you recently went on The Amazing Race.
Yes.
What was the best thing about it and the worst thing about it?
Oh, the best thing about it, there was so many great things about it. Like it was actually incredible. It was amazing. The best thing about it was, I guess, being able to do it with Stella, my daughter, who's 19. So that was incredible. Mm-hmm. The worst thing about it for me was, and this is going to sound stupid, but it was the fact that they didn't have good food. So I'm okay being in like a shitty scenario or a place, so long as you've got that comfort of eating well.
Yeah.
And I eat quite well. And so we're literally living on KFC. Like breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Oh.
Yeah. So I found that a struggle, really difficult.
Yeah, I think I would find that hard too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's necessarily like the fast food factor. It's that the actual nutrients don't make you feel
that's exactly what it
energized.
is. Yeah. I mean, I love KFC once a year.
Not every day.
But not every day for like 3 weeks or something. It's like, oh, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before I was like, I would think about it and I'm like, oh, that was just so grueling. Like I'd never ever again. And the longer it goes on, I'm missing it. I'm missing that TV bubble and knowing, or just, I kind of like that kind of, I don't know, where you know what you're going to wear, you know where you have to be. It's kind of this, you don't have your phone on you, like it's just this little world of kind of being looked after or being told what to do maybe. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I do miss it. And I miss all the crew and the people and everything.
Yeah, you must get to know everyone very well.
Very well indeed.
What is the biggest oh my God moment in your career?
Oh, I mean, I've had a few, with Fig Fam and Milk & Co. and things like that, I've had, a lot of them, like seeing your product out there, getting Fig Fam into the Middle East and that kind of thing. But then in this kind of the modelling sort of fashion world, doing work with like Louis Vuitton and Chanel. I had a Ferrari for 2 years that I got to drive. Those kind of things are pretty cool as well.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
What about your most embarrassing moment?
I embarrass myself all the time. Like I'm just one big ball of embarrassment. And I embarrass the people around me too, I think. I don't know. I mean, there's so many of them. Like I'm just kind of that kind of person. It's just,
goofy. I like that.
Yeah, very goofy.
Is there something that you do that you can think of every single day that adds a little more to your life?
I would say like just doing Pilates every day. I mean, I think it just kind of keeps me fit and healthy, stronger. I'm 47, so I'm kind of doing anything that sort of stops me from aging, seizing up. So long as I'm kind of, moving more and all that sort of thing, I think it's healthy.
Do you do it literally every day?
Yeah, I try to.
Wow. That's
all
amazing.
6 days a week, yeah.
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 Do you have any other beauty secrets? Because the fact that you're 47 and look like that is amazing to me.
Well, probably because I'm Asian. I think what's the saying? Being Asian, it's kind of like, I think I'm going to look good until I hit menopause, and then apparently I get like this big mole with hair growing out of it and like a hunchback, and I think that's what happens to most Asian people. But yeah, no, I just
Your
think
skin is incredible.
Thank you. I did actually just have that salmon sperm thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
How was it?
Well, I don't know because they put it on your face.
It freaks me out.
It freaked me out and it hurt. Like it's really painful. And then they're like, oh yeah, you need to have this 2 or 3 more times. I'm like, well.
So what do they inject it?
They inject it.
Salmon sperm.
Salmon sperm. And I just want to know who's jerking off those little salmons. I'm like desperate to know.
Also, who came up with this? Like,
well, I don't know.
Where does this stuff come from?
I have no idea, but you know what? Maybe it's working. I don't know.
Oh my God. Now, would you be able to share with us 3 recommendations, something that you would recommend watching, listening to, and reading?
Watching, I'm just addicted to like all documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like I love sport documentaries, which is interesting because I hate sport. Like I hate it.
That's
but
also interesting because you married
an athlete. I know. But I love documentaries. So any of them, just whatever it is, I just love. Listening, I love music. So music's my thing. At the moment, what are we listening to? A lot of Kendrick Lamar, Drake for some reason.
Oh, you're listening to both? That's controversial.
Yeah, I know. My 7-year-old's like obsessed with both of them, so it's always. And then what was the other one? Reading.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for me, reading doesn't happen a lot. 4 kids, single mum, don't have a lot of time. But I did just read a book called Women, which was really good.
Okay.
Set in Vietnam War. So, yeah, that was good.
You have been through a lot when it comes to love in your life.
I have.
Can you take me back to your childhood? What did love look like for you growing up?
It's interesting because my mum was a single mum. I didn't have a dad. So for me, love was mainly it just came from my mum. But then in the same time, it didn't just come from my mum. It came from the extended family. So my grandparents were everything to me. My uncle, who was just incredible. Like my grandfather and my uncle were like just the biggest sort of male models. How do you say that? Male role models.
Yeah.
That I had in my life. But I had a lot of love. Like it was just, I was super spoiled. But I did feel very loved growing up. But mainly it came from my mum.
That's really beautiful. It sounds like you had a beautiful relationship with your mum.
I did. Yeah.
Did you look to other couples or, Disney movies or things like that and think, I hope that one day I find that kind of love? Like, how did you feel about romantic love?
I don't know. It's really strange because, my mum is she's so strong and powerful. She met my stepdad when I was 3. They've been together ever since. He was a great stepdad to me. But the sense of 2 couples being together really wasn't a thought to me. Like, I mean, I've always thought I'd have a husband and all of those sort of things, but I didn't really necessarily I didn't romanticize about it, and I didn't really look outwards to see, you know, what other people doing or whatever. And even now with, you know, my kids, you know, 2 different divorces that I'm going through, most of their friends' parents are divorced as well. So it's very rare to see a couple still together in this day and age, I think.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one. I don't know really my thoughts on that, or even how I got here into this, you know, in this situation.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can definitely relate, but it's not like you go into it thinking that's how it's going to end up.
No, definitely. Yeah. And I love being in love. Like, I love love. And I don't know whether it's like, you know, I need to find, you know, I've had long-term, so I've had a 10-year relationship with a boyfriend, and then I was married to Michael for 10 years, and then Adam was 8 years. So I have these long-term relationships, and I'm in it for, you know, the long haul. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't ever think that it was ever going to be part-time or, you know, end after the 10 years or whatever it is. But I also think that we go through life cycles as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Was there anything after your first marriage that you felt like you learnt and you took going into your second marriage?
I don't think I learned anything.
Really?
No. I think that I was so kind of hurt and damaged after everything happened with Michael that I was just, you know, the first person that came along, which was Adam, I just jumped into it because it felt I needed to feel safe. I needed, he brought in the things that sort of protected the children a lot because Michael sort of wasn't really around, and the kids needed like a father figure. So I think I probably was just searching for that person to fill in those gaps that were lacking potentially. So I didn't really learn anything. I think in the sense I should have taken more time and really kind of taken the time and have done things for myself and not so much to support the kids. I mean, it was good that he was there to support the kids, but I definitely rushed into it.
Yeah, I can also relate to that.
Yes.
I think it's scary when you have been in a long-term relationship to think of being alone. And I can only imagine how much more intense that feels when you do have children.
Yeah.
What was it that drew you to Adam aside from that?
Well, that's it. So it was so chaotic at the time, and I was in Indonesia as well, so I didn't really have my family and friends around me. And Adam brought this sense of calmness as well, and great with the kids, just really calm, really gentle. And there was so much fighting going on, you know, like that was this, you know, and that's what I'm refused to do any more of now. It's just that fighting over money, fighting over the kids, fighting over feelings, fighting over everything.
Do you mean between you and Michael?
Between Michael and I, yeah. And so Adam would bring in this sort of sense of calm and kind of not really allow me to fight, if in a sense. Like I wouldn't get caught up in it, you know. So I think he was really, really good at that and really good support too at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long was there between?
Oh, it was quick. Like literally I found out, you know, Michael was leaving like November. I met Adam probably end of December.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like
super fast.
Very quick. And that's, you know, that's on me. Like I needed to have that sense. And I guess too, like being over Indonesia alone, having 3 kids on my own, like just feeling completely isolated. Like I felt like I needed to have that support, and I found it really quickly, too quickly.
How did you meet?
Through a friend of his, actually. Yeah. So,
So he was a bit of a safe space for you early on.
Definitely.
How far into it did things start to change?
Quite quickly. So he, you know, was really safe, but then some little things would sort of happen, and you know, it was just different behaviour that I wasn't sort of used to, and kind of would sort of start questioning me as a person and say that I'm doing something that I'm not, or I'm, you know, why am I looking at that person, or where am I going, or I'm lying, and all of these weird things. And I'm kind of like, I'm not that person. I'm so open. I don't lie. I'm honest. And then to start to be accused of all of these things, I'm like, what's going on here? Like, why am I what's happening? And so it was a very different, and Michael and I, our relationship was very open. Like he would allow me to do whatever I wanted and he could do whatever he wanted. And there was no sort of, like looking at my phone or there was so much trust there. And with Adam, there was no trust on his side. And I started to think that there was something going on there. And I know that he did suffer in the past from some sort of mental health problems. But over time, things start to change and you don't really notice it. So like small little things would happen and then I'd be, oh, no, that's fine. It's because of this or because of that. And you kind of don't really notice it happening.
Or you dismiss it, I think.
Yeah, you dismiss it. And also it's embarrassing sometimes. Like it's his behavior would be embarrassing. And so then things like I would then start to not have friends over because people would see this behavior happening and then they would sort of ask me questions about it and then I'd be embarrassed that I haven't done anything about it. So then it became quite isolating as well. So
so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that when you are in a relationship with someone who is challenging behind closed doors, it is such a red flag that when you are protecting them and not telling your friends what's really going on.
Yeah.
But then it's so hard because you're trying to protect what you have. And I assume also your kids and all of that.
Yeah.
And then I think it just becomes your normal.
It definitely becomes your normal.
Yeah.
And it's just, and and I'm always that person too where like he's a beautiful person. Like I love him. Like he's such a nice human being and he just happens to have this thing that he has not been able to control. And so for a long time I just felt sorry for him and I just wanted to help. And that's all I ever wanted to do and trying to find the help and trying to find, different exercises and different breathwork sessions and different like acupuncture and healers and all of the things that I could do to try and help this situation. And it just was getting worse and worse and worse.
Were there friends that you were confiding in?
Definitely. I had a really good girlfriend, Nikki, in Bali, and she kind of went through the same situation as me. But the thing with that is that she would be constantly going, this is not right. You have to go. This is terrible. This behavior is unacceptable. But when you're in it, you are stuck in it and you can't, and I can hear and I could hear everything she was saying, but it was just not the right time for me to take it on and to actually understand it. But it was nice that she was there and she never judged me or criticized me or said, told you this a million times before, you've got to do this and I'm not talking to you now because last time you said. So she was a really good friend like that. A lot of my other friends kind of gave up sort of telling me what to do, but she was always there throughout everything.
What about family?
Family, not so much. I think, I was kind of a little bit isolated from my family at one point, and I'm not sure whether that really had anything to do with the way he was controlling me in a sense, and I managed to sort of push them out a little bit more. If I really think back, I think that's probably what happened. So I didn't really have them super close to me, but they could definitely see a massive change in me, a huge shift and things. And even where, we ended up moving far away, from anyone. So I was super isolated.
So when you met him, you were living in Bali?
Yeah, so we were living in Bali, we were living in Canggu, and then everything went bad during COVID. So it just became like a completely different person.
So it was okay until that point?
He was okay. Yeah, he was okay until, little small things, but then during COVID it was just awful. It was it was just diabolical. Like the things you just like the stories I could tell you are just insane. So, and then that's when we decided to move to Uluwatu, away from everyone that I knew. I didn't know a single soul up there.
When you say we decided, was it actually him?
Yeah, but I think maybe it could have been me too, because I felt that where we were living, it was getting dangerous and people were knowing a lot about him. And maybe it was to protect us still. I don't know. Yeah.
That sounds really, really challenging.
Yeah, it was.
Even though it was quite clear to you, it sounds, that there was something going on with him.
Yeah.
Did you feel like it was your fault as well?
Totally.
Can
it was
you tell
just
me about that?
Yeah, so this behavior, after a while, it was like, oh my God, am I crazy? Am I the crazy one? Do I have a a personality problem? Am I overreacting? Like what? And it's so hard to explain because it's kind of like certain behaviors, like he would like accuse me of doing things and then be so good at convincing me that I'd done it that I was second guessing myself. And I'm like, did I do that? Oh my God, I can't remember. Maybe I did. Maybe I had too many glasses of wine and I forgot. So it was this constant second guessing myself all the time. It was wild. And then what I started to do is in our arguments as well, I used to start recording.
Oh my God, I did that too.
Because otherwise the next day he'd say, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. That wasn't what we said. No, you said it and you did this. And then I could then eventually I would be able to be like, okay, this is actually happening. I'm not making it up. This is actually happening and it's not all in my head. But for a long, long time I was to blame and I was the problem. It was frightening.
It's such an awful, isolating feeling.
Yeah.
And I think too, I know from my personal experience that stops you from confiding in people too, because
correct.
I thought, if I tell them what's going on,
mm-hmm.
they might confirm to me that it's actually me.
Yes.
And I was scared of that.
Yeah.
So I just kept working on myself, thinking
that's
that working on myself was going to fix everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I did too, because in the end, like that was all there was to work to do, because he wasn't taking anything. He refused to go to any doctors, refused to even exercise, like it's just so I just would read all the books, go do the therapy, do the breath work, do all the things that I could do, because if, what else was there to do?
How did you cope as a parent, dealing with all of this? I know is so much on one individual, but then how do you show up for your kids when you're going through something so tumultuous?
And that's the thing eventually, I think too, like to go through these huge rows and these constant, I can't even describe or don't even have the words for what it was happening every single day, like this just accusing me of things that I hadn't done and personality changes and all of these things that were happening. But for me, it was my reaction too. So I would get so defensive about it all because I'm just like, this didn't happen. This is not right. And it was just driving me insane. And so my reactions would have a fight, and then the kids would see the fight, and then it would just be this huge big blow up, and then he would go away and he would disappear for like a week or whatever it was. You know what I mean? So it was just this constant thing in the house. And then if it wasn't the arguments, it was the moods, the heaviness that he would bring. So he would just be there and you would feel like everybody could feel it. Like it was just so heavy. And I think that's why I'm lucky, because I did have the children. And if it wasn't for them, I probably would still be there. Like I left because I needed them to not see that anymore. I didn't want them to have to deal with that anymore. So they gave me sort of the courage, I guess, to fix the problem.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you have any sort of physical symptoms happening with the stress?
So this is a crazy thing, and this is where I was like, and it took me years to kind of work out what was happening, but I got really bad allergies, and like I would wake up and I would just be sneezing and my throat itchy and my eyes and everything. Like it was just insane. They wouldn't stop. And I'd never had allergies before in my life. And then I started having like shoulder pains constantly. And I'm like, oh, it's just kind of getting old or whatever. But then I'd go to Australia for work and everything would stop. And so then I'd go back to Bali and that would happen again. And I kept thinking to myself, am I allergic to him? Like, am I allergic? I think I might be. But it sounds so crazy and so wild.
I think it sounds crazy.
Well, it was just, and so I did a lot of kind of, investigating and reading up on it and things like that. And your body does keep score, and it really
100%,
does.
Yeah.
So, even now, like, and I got arthritis and all of those things. So even now I know, like, if I'm stressed, the allergies start and the arthritis starts again. But it was being in that stressful environment constantly that made me unwell.
Oh, I think your body like screams at you. Your
Definitely,
body's like, listen, like, what are you doing?
Yes, correct. And I wish that I'd listened to it more, but I don't know, I was just caught up in this kind of, I don't know, it was just.
No, well, again, I think you think, oh, something's wrong with me. But it's not that your body's trying to tell you something. It's like, you just think that you're broken, or that that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Like my gut was bad. I had shocking acne. My hair was thinning.
Yeah, I lost my hair. So when towards the end of the relationship, my hair was just coming out in clumps. Like it was just insane. And I was like, this is not right. Like something is going on. But then, that's happening at the same time as I'm probably getting perimenopause and all these things. So you're trying to pinpoint what's going on, but actually it's just the sheer stress of living that life.
Living in an unhappy, stressful situation.
Correct. Yeah.
So what was it then that, COVID was now 5 years ago. It's quite a long time to be living like that.
Definitely. Yeah.
What was the day or the moment that you were like, this is enough, I've got to go?
There were a lot of kind of moments leading up to that, and sort of without going in too much to sort of protect Adam's sort of privacy, I think that, I could just see him unraveling more and more and his behaviour changing more drastically, and his appearance and things like that, and more erratic. And then it was about this time last year that I just was like, okay, I just don't think we can do this anymore. I just think I have to, put the house on Airbnb, and I got a little place for me to rent with the kids. And then, I thought that in Bali, and I thought that he would then kind of snap out of it. And I still had that door open. I'm still waiting for him to fix himself or to get the help that he needed. And I'm like, I made him pick up Goldie every day for school so he didn't go and get annihilated the night before and all of that sort of stuff, to give him that responsibility of still being a dad and things. But it just got worse and worse. And so even though that door was open for a good 4 months, waiting for him to get better and come back and join the family, it just got even worse, to the point where he did something just so unthinkable to me, that I just like, okay, that's it. I'm packing up the bags and we're moving back to Australia.
I'm so sorry. That would have been so hard.
It was wild. It was more just the kind of, it's just things that it was like I was in my own thriller movie. Like this weird stuff that would happen, and this behavior that was just so bizarre. And like people now often say, I cannot believe you left somebody who was, sick. It's not his fault that, that he was sick. And it's like, well, I get it. Like I feel terrible that I've had to do that. But if you could see what that brought to the family and what we were having to live through and what we had to witness on every day, it was damaging. Like it was chaos. Like
it's very unfair for people to say that, I think.
Oh, I get it all the time.
Do you?
Yes, all the time. They're like, oh my God, it's not his fault. He's mentally, whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, but like it's just, there's being depressed and there's having anxiety, but there are some things where people have different personality disorders which are just
dangerous,
very dangerous. And I was in danger. The children were in danger.
Yeah, but there's only so much you can help someone with.
Correct.
A mental health illness, disorder. I've had a lot of it in my life, and I, people that I love who have struggled, and you can give them all of the recommendations. You can try so much to help them.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, unless they are actually following through with those things, there is only so much you can do. Correct. And you had to protect yourself and you had to protect your kids. And
that's the thing about living in Bali too. There is absolutely no mental health care there at all. So you can do all the hippie stuff. You can get the healings and the blessings and the breath work and all that sort of stuff. But there's no, you can't have a psychology assessment. You can't, the medication's not there. And you can't sort of call up anybody for help and say, quick, this is happening. Can you come and rescue me? And this person needs help. There's just nothing like that. And so quite often that's why people decide to move to places like Bali, because they can go there to just behave in the way that they want to,
That's so interesting, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What did it actually look like moving back? I know you've said that you literally you left with a couple of suitcases.
Yeah. I was talking about this today actually. I did. It was so traumatic for me leaving. I left sort of in the middle of the night, one night with the kids. And and I packed 2 suitcases, and I packed in one suitcase my coffee machine and my globe knives because I love to cook, and then the rest were a few items of clothes. And then we went to a hotel, and then the next day we flew out. So we literally landed with 2 suitcases and, just completely rebuilding my life again. So leaving everything in Bali, everything's in storage, although I've now just said to the storage facility, just give it away because I don't even want to go back. Like I've got so much PTSD from Bali, even though I love it and it's my home, and I want the kids to still enjoy it. I just can't go back there for a little while. But yeah, moving back here, I mean, it's been amazing. It's terrifying because it's like, I'm 47, starting from scratch again, renting. I still have the place in Bali with Adam, but he's got that at the moment. So yeah, I don't have, and it's terrifying, like thinking, will I ever own a house? Like, what's going to happen to me? Will I have a family home? What happens if I can't pay rent next month? What happens if I get sick? And all of these things come to me in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. But at least I have peace and the kids are healthy and happy. I'm healthy and happy, and we're together. So yeah, I feel very grateful.
You are so brave, I think, and courageous, and I really admire you for making such a big leap when you don't know how that's going to look.
Correct. Yeah, and it's scary, and that's the thing, like it was happening over time. And I think when you mentioned before about, did I have any friends helping me through these situations? Nikki was definitely there. And I think what was happening is she was sort of planting little things in my little thoughts in my brain that, I can do it. But for me, it was about timing. And when she was telling me to go now and my therapist was saying, you've got to run, leave now, the timing wasn't right. So to leave a situation like that, I think it is all about timing. You have to sort of put in place little stepping stones for you to eventually get out. You can't just leave all of a sudden. You have to make sure you've got things in place and set up. For me, I had to borrow 20 grand off my grandmother. I had to do that for, the first month's bond and then the first month's rent kind of thing. I had to borrow some more money off a friend for the airfares, like all of those, things I had to put in place. But there were definitely times when, before that, like I had no idea how I was going to do it. And I'm like, there's 4 of us, 4 children. Who's got a house big enough to put us all in? My mum's got like a 1-bedroom house. And then I'm thinking, oh, my grandmother's got a 2-bedroom. Maybe we could go in Tassie and live with her. And like, what am I going to do? So I know for a lot of people, they're the thought, that's the thought process of like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to live? But you've just got to start putting in those little stepping stones. And then eventually when the timing is right, it's right. And then you get out.
How many months has it been now?
Oh, when did I get here? November. What are we in now? I'm really bad at math.
Pretty fresh.
Yeah, it's still pretty fresh.
7 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How are you going? Like, how's the healing journey?
The healing's good. Actually, I don't know if I have much time to do healing. I've got the 4 kids, full-time mum, full-time working, and the house and everything. So it's a lot. Like, I love it. I love being back in Australia and I feel so supported. And I feel so safe, which is the main thing. But yeah, I think that, I was talking to my mum about it this morning and she's like, you're just so great. Like, I don't actually think I need to do too much sort of healing in the sense that just being here is amazing. Yeah. And being free from that is amazing. So I'm feeling good.
That's
like good. I'm exhausted. Like I'm so freaking tired. But I'm happy and I'm feeling really good.
Good. Well, I'm so glad that you moved here and that you got out of that.
Yeah.
How do you help your kids through it? How are you working with them?
Yeah, that's been a really difficult thing. I think with Stella, she doesn't, a lot of them didn't see, the older kids kind of didn't see the core of it or the main kind of brunt of everything because they're out, they're out and about, they're doing their own thing. The 2 little ones saw a lot of it. Goldie's struggling and I find that really difficult. She, she just wants me, like she's got separation anxiety, but she's settling into Australia really well. She loves her school, loves her friends. Adam actually came for a visit recently And that was just really difficult because, I want her to have a relationship with him, but she wouldn't see him on her own, and I had to be there, which was really uncomfortable. But, I wish him all the best, and I want him to be well and healthy. And I don't think he actually realised the full impact that it had on Goldie. And, he was definitely saying things, just leave her with me. It's just like school drop-off, leave her with me. I'm like, but it's not like that. It's more complex than that. She hasn't seen you since November last year. And, when we did see you, it was in this chaotic situation. So, and you've not been keeping in contact. Like, you don't call her, you don't FaceTime her. So you're a stranger at the moment. So you need to build up that trust. So it's been really difficult dealing with her emotions and that side of things. Frankie's great. I mean, they all love Adam and they'll still love him, but they know the situation, and they've been scared at times as well. So, yeah, I am concerned for Goldie, but I'm in Australia. She's 7.
Okay.
But, we can get help here. And the first thing I've done is we're seeing a child psychologist next week, and the fact that you have all of that sort of stuff here in Australia is incredible. You just didn't have that in Bali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned though that you were talking to a therapist. Was that someone from Australia?
So Janine was from Australia. I used to FaceTime her.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about therapists. People are so funny about getting help, and they're like, I can't afford it. And it's like, I pay her like $160, and I used to FaceTime her, and it's like the best money ever spent.
Oh, it's an actual investment.
It really is. I just don't understand people's mindset when they're like, I can't afford a therapist. I mean,
I'm sure some people actually can't, but then I have friends that I see spending $200 on a night out, and they're like, I can't afford a psych. I'm like, I think you just need to figure out where you should be putting your money.
100. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But so Janine's great. Still speak to her. But I'm generally a happy person. I'm happy. I'm positive. I don't ever get stuck in that one place. I'm always just moving forward. What else are you going to do? I've got no choice too with the kids.
Yeah.
You've got to move forward. So, I'm feeling good.
That's good. What do you think your biggest learning from the last 8 years has been?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I'm still trying to work that out. I mean, I think now, I'm so much more sure of myself. When I was in that relationship, I was very, my confidence was down. I wasn't sure of myself, but now I am. Now I'm much stronger, and I kind of, I'm a hustler. I'll just, I'm just there. And as I said before, I think it's the kids. The kids just keep me going. I have no choice but to provide for them. So, that is just my aim in life, is to make sure that they have a good, healthy, happy life.
How do you feel about love now? Are you dating?
Yeah. See, as I said, I love love.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the first podcasts I did after, the whole situation, I'm like, I'm never going to get married again. I'm never going to do this again. And here I am, maybe wanting to get married again. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm much more, as I said, confident, and I know myself very well now, and I'm learning to do things for me, and I'm not out there looking for a dad for the kids. They've got 2 dads. I'm actually, this time round, I've gone out looking for somebody who can support me, or not support me, but to be there for me emotionally, and who I can have fun with, and who I can love, and who can love me back. And so we'll see how that goes.
That's exciting.
Still got to get divorced to the other one before I get married to this one.
There's a lot of admin.
I mean, there's a lot.
I think people don't talk about that too. I couldn't believe how many, I don't know. I think it's harder to get divorced than it is to get married.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm probably actually not even going to get divorced. I can't be bothered. And I'm dyslexic. That paperwork kills me.
It's a lot. When you look back at the beginning with Adam, and there were those little niggles, which I think now in hindsight you can probably see as big red flags.
Massive red flags, yes.
How do you stay conscious of that when you are someone who loves hard? Yeah. Which I can also relate to.
Yeah. Look, those red flags were so huge. And I really wished that I had done something about it when I first saw them. And I can remember the very first moments when they happened, and the fact that I didn't do anything about them then. So I'm actually really conscious of it now, so much so that everything's a freaking red flag to me. I'm like, no, red flag. So I've got to really stop doing that. And even in my new relationship, everyone's got stuff. Everyone's got baggage. Everyone's got their thing. But it's just, I guess, being just mindful of it. And if it doesn't really resonate with you or your beliefs, then, you need to speak up and have the conversation and at least talk about it. Whereas when it used to happen with Adam, it wasn't a conversation, or it would be a massive fight, and then I would be the one in the wrong. So,
which is a red flag.
Yes, correct.
With Stella, she's 19.
Yeah.
Does she have a boyfriend?
She does, yeah.
How do you talk to her about what you've been through and love? And
yeah, this is a difficult one.
Yeah.
So I'm actually struggling with her at the moment because I don't think she's fully able to comprehend or understand what it is that I've gone through. I think that she chose not to see some sides or look away. It was quite too painful. And I mean, she's got some trauma from her dad as well, from the divorce and everything. And, and all the kids see Adam as their stepdad or as their dad or stepdad, and they love him. And so even moving here, I think Stella and I are kind of struggling because she, I don't have the time. I used to have the time, with Bali, have some helpers and things like that. And now it's like, you don't spend time with me, you don't have enough time. We don't go out together anymore. And I don't think she actually fully comprehends what it is or what I've done to get here. The amount of work that I have to do every day, the amount of housework that there is to do every day, the amount of trauma that I've been through, the fact that I'm the sole parent of these children on a daily basis. I don't have anyone to bounce ideas off or tantrums off or anything like that, and I'm on 24 hours a day. So she's 19. She shouldn't have to know any of this or kind of understand any of it. I would be nice if she did a little bit, but she's just at that age where she just doesn't quite see it. And I think one day when she's older, she might be able to. And I'd hope to think that she was proud of me and see that I was strong and that I did it for the family and that I sort of, made this huge move to protect them all, to have a better life. But I don't think she sees it right now.
She will. I think
yeah.
I definitely, when I was younger, didn't see what my mum had done. She had 3 of us under 3. And
wow, yeah.
And my mum and dad split up when I was 8.
Right.
And, you get frustrated with your mum being the primary carer.
Yeah.
She's not buying the thing that you need,
Yes.
all your friends are getting and you want her to get, and she would crack it because she'd be so stressed and upset by just the sheer pressure of dealing with looking after 3 children on your own.
That's it.
And it's not until I think probably the last, or maybe when I got to like 25, that I was like, wow, like you did so much for us and you're pretty bloody amazing.
Yeah.
But I think it takes maturing and actually knowing what it's like to live on your own and pay the bills and do all those things that you're like, oh, you had to do all of that, not just for you as a human, but for these little humans as well. It is, I take my hat off to you.
It's a very thankless job being a mum sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I love her. She's 19. She's having a great life. And I think, one day, I hope that she'll appreciate it.
I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to speak to anyone listening who is going through something similar to what you went through, is there some advice you could give them?
Look, I don't know. I mean, as I mentioned before, it's so hard to listen to advice when you are going through that sort of situation, like it's the amount of control that you're often under and the lack of confidence that you might have. It's really difficult to hear advice and think that can be you can get out, But one thing I would say is that it's all about timing, and you will eventually one day get out and you will do, you'll be happy. But it's about timing. Like there are so many times with me, I'm so grateful that I waited, like things weren't put in place for me to leave when I did. So I think, eventually it's just, it's timing, definitely.
Do you think also early on that your gut was telling you that things weren't right, but maybe you weren't listening to it?
100%. Yeah, for so long. And it's just, and they're me problems too, like there were things that, I hadn't dealt with in the past, like the feeling less than what, being mortified that I have to go through another divorce and what will people think? And, maybe I'm the problem or, and a lot of people have even said, oh, she can't keep a husband and, stuff like that about me. And, maybe that's true. And so there's that kind of fear of what people will think, and at the end of the day, now I just don't give a shit on what people think. I just do what I want to do and know why I'm doing it, and and just keep forging forward.
Yeah, my psych said something to me when I was in the midst of my separation, and he said, take away the noise, like take away what people think about what you're doing and what they might say.
Yeah.
And then make the decision based on what you feel is right, ignoring all the noise. And it is crazy how different our decision making is when we do that.
Yeah, I agree.
I think particularly as someone who you went through a very public divorce the first time around, that pressure would have been so intense.
And it's insane. Like it's just, having all these eyes and ears on you constantly, and everyone's got an opinion. Like, this is, and actually one thing I find Australia to be, I love it. I love being here, but it's quite critical, I think, and women too. I think women can be very critical of each other, and I think I'm not quite used to it yet. I'm not going to get used to it, but I think I'm just growing a thicker skin and learning just not to listen to that noise.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think you're very strong, very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Now, we finish every episode with a little segment called Oranges and Lemons.
Oh, okay.
With a little additional seedling. So your orange, it might be from today or the last few days, is something positive, something sweet.
Okay.
Your lemon, something a little bit negative or sour, and then the seedling is something you're looking forward to. It can be small, like maybe you got the kids out of the house without a drama today. Like I feel like that could be an orange.
Today I definitely did not do that.
Okay.
That's a lemon. That was a huge lemon. Goldie had the biggest fit of all time, that's a lemon.
Okay.
Well, today just, being here, talking to you, chatting, hopefully, inspiring some people. I think, that's an orange.
That's really nice. And so we've got your lemon. What about a seedling? What's something you're looking forward to?
Oh, look, I'm just looking forward to a brighter future for the kids and I, like I don't know what that looks like. As I said, I don't even know if I'll ever own a house again. But I definitely hope that I will one day have a beautiful big family home, and that the kids can bring their kids too. So that's definitely something I'm manifesting and looking forward to.
I'm trying to think of a lemon. We are both ambassadors for the Witchery White Shirt campaign.
Correct.
By the time this episode drops, that will be over because today is White Shirt Day.
Right.
And it's both an orange and a lemon. I went to the Witchery head office today for White Shirt Day, which is why I'm in this again. And it's an orange, seeing so many incredible people wearing the white shirt and supporting this cause, and the fact that they've raised over $500,000.
It's amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lemon to hear from ovarian cancer survivors. Amazing that we have these ovarian cancer survivors, but the lemon is that is rare.
Correct.
And one of the beautiful girls who spoke today said she was part of the campaign in 2018 and she was alongside these incredible women. And now today, 7 years later, she's the only ambassador because they've all passed away. I know, it made me so emotional. So that's a lemon. But then I think out of that, a seedling is one of the researchers spoke, and she said that they're making some real progress and headway with the research.
Wow.
So I think the fact that they've raised so much money and it is all going towards research, and then hopefully we will have an early detection test and and a cure in the not too distant future.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And also an orange having you sitting in my seat, matching my seat.
Thank you. I know. I can't believe it. Meant to be.
Thank you so much for joining me, Lindy, and for being so open.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Tell Me More. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave us a review, share it with your friends, and follow or subscribe to the podcast. Your help in growing this community would mean so much to me.